She claimed I stole her soulmate. I showed the world the truth. He never was hers, and he only ever wanted me. The smell of red roses always made me nauseous. Not because I dislike flowers. I used to love them. But red roses were Sophia's favorite, and she used them as a weapon. Every photo she posted with Ryan had red roses in the background. Every public declaration of eternal love came with elaborate bouquets, as if the quantity of petals could transform a lie into truth. Today, standing at the entrance of the Fairmont Copley Plaza in Boston, holding a brown paper envelope that contained 5 years of hidden truths, I could smell the perfume of those damned roses wafting through the revolving door. Sophia and Ryan's wedding rehearsal was happening in the ballroom on the second floor. 100 guests, French champagne, live orchestra, all perfect, as it always was with Sophia. Except that today, her perfection would crumble. In the envelope, I carried letters. 23 letters I wrote to Ryan Mitchell between 2018 and 2019 when I had to move to Seattle to care for my dying mother. Letters I sent, but that he never received. Letters that Sophia intercepted, hid, and then used as a template to create her own false personality. There is a specific cruelty in stealing not just the person you love, but the very essence of who you are. Sophia did not just take Ryan, she stole me, my words, my stories, my soul, and used them to make him fall in love with a false version of me that she portrayed. My phone vibrated. A message from Grace Mitchell, Ryan's sister, and the only person in the family who believed me from the start. I'm in the ballroom. Sophia is nervous. She knows you're coming. Emma, are you sure about this? I typed back, more sure than ever. It's time for the truth. I took a deep breath and entered. The hotel lobby was opulent. Italian marble, crystal chandeliers, the kind of place Sophia always wanted to get married. Not because she loved luxury, though she did, but because it was the place where I had told Ryan, years ago, that I wanted to get married someday. One more thing she stole from me. I walked up the stairs, avoiding the elevator where I knew I might encounter family before I was ready, and stopped at the ballroom door. Through the double glass doors, I could see everything. Tables decorated with those damned red roses. Sophia in the center, wearing a white rehearsal dress that probably cost more than my car. And Ryan. Ryan Mitchell, at 33, was still the most handsome man I had ever met. Dark brown hair, blue eyes that used to look at me as if I were his only universe. A smile that made my heart stop. But today, that smile was faded, forced, as it had been in every photo Sophia posted, if you looked closely enough. He wasn't happy. He never was. He was trapped. Grace saw me through the glass and discreetly exited the ballroom. We met in the hallway, away from curious glances. "Did you bring it?" she asked, looking at the envelope. "I brought everything," I said. "The letters, the postal records proving they were sent, the text messages the forensic expert recovered from Sophia's old phone, everything." "And the recording?" Grace asked. I touched my pocket, where a small digital recorder was hidden. Sophia's therapist agreed to speak. She violated doctor-patient confidentiality because, according to her, Sophia poses a danger to others. The obsessive pattern of behavior, the fixation on being you, the systematic manipulation, it's all recorded. Grace closed her eyes, tears escaping. I knew. From the beginning, I knew something was wrong. Ryan never looked at Sophia the way he looked at you. But she was so convincing. The story she told, the things she knew about him, it was as if she knew him better than anyone. She knew him, I said, bitterly, because I knew him. And she stole my knowledge, my memories, my words. There is a form of theft that goes beyond the physical. Sophia did not just take Ryan. She stole my identity, my experiences, even the way I loved, and used them as a fantasy to seduce the man who was mine. And when I came back, when the truth started to emerge, she turned me into the villain, the envious cousin, the fiancé thief, the homewrecker. "How do you want to do this?" Grace asked. "Publicly," I said, "in front of everyone, because it was publicly that she destroyed me." On social media, at family dinners, in every whispered conversation. She built a narrative where I was the monster. So, publicly, the truth will come out. It will hurt Ryan, Grace said softly. I know, I admitted, my voice breaking. But continuing the lie will destroy him. He is marrying a woman he doesn't love, based on a personality that isn't real. That's not love, Grace. It's imprisonment. She nodded. Then let's set him free. We walked back to the ballroom together. This time I didn't hesitate. I pushed the doors open, and the sound, conversations, laughter, soft music, gradually ceased as heads turned. Sophia saw me, and her face paled. Emma, what are you doing here? Hi, cousin, I said, my voice echoing in the sudden silence. Sorry to drop in unannounced, but I thought you'd like me to deliver your wedding gift personally. Ryan turned, and our eyes met for the first time in 5 years. I saw shock, confusion, and something more, something that looked like recognition, as if part of him had always known something was wrong. Emma, he said, and my name on his lips still made my heart race. You shouldn't be here. I know, I said. Sophia made it very clear I'm not welcome, that I'm the bad cousin who tried to steal you from her, that I'm the villain in this story. You are, Sophia said, regaining her composure. She walked to Ryan, grabbed his arm possessively. You show up at my wedding rehearsal after everything you've done, after trying to destroy my relationship? I didn't try to destroy anything, I interrupted. Because there was nothing to destroy, Sophia. You and Ryan, you don't have a real relationship. You have a lie built on identity theft. Murmurs erupted around the room. My Aunt Helen, Sophia's mother, stood up. Emma Collins, how dare you? Aunt Helen, I said, keeping my voice firm, I dare because I spent 5 months being publicly destroyed by your daughter. 5 months hearing that I'm a thief, a manipulator, a homewrecker. 5 months while my own family turned against me based on lies. I looked around the room, at the aunts, cousins, family friends who had known me my whole life, but who believed Sophia without question. So today, I continued, you will hear the truth, the complete truth, and then you decide who is really the villain in this story. Sophia was trembling now, her perfectly painted nails digging into Ryan's arm. Ryan, don't let her do this. She's lying. She's always lied. Then let her speak, Ryan said suddenly. And there was something in his voice, something tired, resigned, as if part of him wanted the truth to come out, no matter the cost. If Emma is lying, it will be obvious, but if she has something to say, let her say it. He released Sophia's arm and took a step toward me. Speak, Emma. Tell your side. And there, in the ballroom of the Fairmont Copley Plaza, surrounded by 100 witnesses, I began to dismantle 5 years of lies. It all started, I said, in 2014, when Ryan and I met at Boston University, when we fell in love, and when we planned a future together that was stolen by circumstances and manipulation. Ryan and I met in our freshman year of college, I began, my voice echoing through the now completely silent ballroom. English literature, 10 a.m. class with Professor Davidson. I sat in the front, Ryan sat in the back. And every day, he would leave a different sticky note on my backpack with quotes from poets. I looked at Ryan, and I saw his eyes widen. He remembered. Of course he remembered. The first was from Pablo Neruda, I continued. I love you without knowing how, or when, or from where. The second was from E. Cummings. The third from Rumi. There were 47 sticky notes over 2 months before he finally had the courage to ask me out. Memories are funny. You can bury them, you can pretend they don't exist, but when someone brings them to the surface, they come back with full force. And by the look on Ryan's face, he was drowning in memories he had tried to forget. We dated for 4 years, I said. 4 years that were the best of my life. We talked about the future, about getting married after graduation, about living in a brownstone in Back Bay, about having 2 children and a dog named Hemingway. Emma, Ryan began, but Sophia cut him off. That's irrelevant, she said, her voice sharp now. You left him. You went away to Seattle and never came back. You're right, I said. I went to Seattle in March 2018 because my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, because she was dying and I was all she had. My voice broke, but I continued. And I told Ryan I had to go, that it would be temporary, that we would get back together as soon as I could. And he understood. He supported me. He promised to wait. And I waited, Ryan said, suddenly, his voice hoarse. I waited for you, Emma, for months. I sent messages every day. I called every week. But you stopped responding. No, I said firmly. I never stopped. I wrote to you every day, Ryan, 23 letters over a year. Letters telling you about Seattle, about caring for my mother, about how much I missed you, about how much I still loved you. I pulled out the envelope, opened it, spread the letters on the nearest table. These are the letters, dated, with postmarks from Seattle to Boston, all addressed to you at your apartment in Cambridge. Ryan approached, picked up a letter with trembling hands. He opened it. He began to read, and I saw his face pale. Dear Ryan, he read aloud, today marks 47 days since I came to Seattle. 47 days since I saw you. And each day hurts more than the last. Mom is getting worse. Doctors say maybe only a few months. I wish you were here. I wish I could hug you. But I know you're there, waiting, loving from a distance. And that keeps me strong. His voice broke. Emma, I never received this. I know, I said, because someone intercepted them. Someone who had access to your building. Someone you trusted. All eyes turned to Sophia. She was white as paper now, backing away slowly. Sophia lived in the same building as you, apartment 4B. You were 4F. She had just moved to Boston, allegedly for a new beginning, after finishing college. But the truth is, she moved because she knew you were there, because she was always obsessed with having what I had. That's crazy, Sophia said, but her voice was weak. Is it? Grace stepped forward, holding her own envelope. Because I have postal records. Records showing that 23 letters were delivered to your building. Records showing that someone signed for them, with a signature that a handwriting expert confirmed to be Sophia Bennett's. She spread the documents. You took them. Every time the mailman delivered, you were there. You signed for them. And you hid them. Why? Ryan turned to Sophia, and there was raw betrayal in his voice. Why would you do that? Because, Sophia was crying now, but they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of anger at being caught. Because you weren't hers. You never should have been hers. Emma always had everything. The beauty, the talent, the perfect life. And for the first time, I had a chance to have something she wanted. That's crazy, Sophia said, but her voice was weak. Is it? Grace stepped forward, holding her own envelope. Because I have postal records. Records showing that 23 letters were delivered to your building. Records showing that someone signed for them, with a signature that a handwriting expert confirmed to be Sophia Bennett's. She spread the documents. You took them. Every time the mailman delivered, you were there. You signed for them, and you hid them. Why? Ryan turned to Sophia, and there was raw betrayal in his voice. Why would you do that? Because, Sophia was crying now, but they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of anger at being caught. Because you weren't hers. Emma always had everything. The beauty, the talent, the perfect life. And for the first time, I had a chance to have something she wanted. So you stole me? Ryan said, horror growing in his voice. I saved you, Sophia screamed. I saved you from wasting your life waiting for someone who clearly didn't care enough to come back. But I did care, I said. I cared so much that I wrote every day, that I kept every memory, that I planned to come back as soon as I could. I took out my phone, opened a folder. And it wasn't just letters. It was text messages, hundreds of them, all sent to your number, all that you never received. There is a form of gaslighting that is particularly cruel. It is making someone believe they are not loved when they are, that they were abandoned when they were not. Ryan spent years thinking I had forgotten him, when in fact I was silently shouting his name, my words intercepted before they reached him. How? Ryan asked. How did you block text messages? She had access to your phone, Ryan. Remember, Ryan? Sophia was always helping you, taking your phone to check something. You trusted her because she was Emma's cousin, because you thought she was trying to connect you with Emma. But she was doing the opposite, I said. She installed a blocking app. She set it so that any message or call from me would be automatically redirected and deleted. You never knew I was trying to reach you. There is a form of gaslighting that is particularly cruel. It is making someone believe they are not loved when they are, that they were abandoned when they were not. Ryan spent years thinking I had forgotten him, when in fact I was silently shouting his name, my words intercepted before they reached him. How? Ryan asked. She had access to your phone, Ryan. Remember, Ryan? Sophia was always helping you, taking your phone to check something. You trusted her because she was Emma's cousin, because you thought she was trying to connect you with Emma. But she was doing the opposite, I said. She installed a blocking app. She set it so that any message or call from me would be automatically redirected and deleted. You never knew I was trying to reach you. My God, all this time. And there's more, I said, because I needed everyone to know. I needed the full extent of Sophia's betrayal to be exposed. Sophia didn't just block my communication with you. She used my letters, the letters she stole, as a template to create a false personality. I picked up one of the letters, pointed to a passage. I love how the rain sounds on metal roofs. It reminds me of childhood, of camping with my dad before he died. Do you remember Sophia telling you that, Ryan? About how she loved rain on metal roofs? He looked up, shock in his eyes. She said exactly that, on our third date. Because she read it in my letters, I said. She took my memories, my experiences, my exact words, and used them to make you fall in love with a false version of me that she portrayed. I picked up another letter. My dream is to have a house on Cape Cod, small, facing the ocean, with a porch where we can read on Sunday mornings. Did Sophia tell you that too? Yes, Ryan whispered. She said she always dreamed of that. We even went to see houses there last summer. Because it was my dream, I said, not hers. Sophia has no dreams of her own. She just steals mine. Aunt Helen was crying now, looking at her daughter with growing horror. Sophia, tell me this isn't true. Tell me you didn't do this. But Sophia said nothing. She was trembling, her perfect mask completely shattered. There's one more thing, Grace said, taking the digital recorder from my pocket. Dr. Patricia Morrison, Sophia's therapist for 3 years, agreed to record a statement. She violated doctor-patient confidentiality because, according to her, Sophia poses a danger to others. She pressed play. An older woman's voice filled the ballroom. My name is Dr. Patricia Morrison. I am a licensed clinical psychologist in Massachusetts. Sophia Bennett was my patient from 2020 to 2023. During that time, she demonstrated a consistent pattern of obsessive behavior focused on her cousin, Emma Collins. The recording continued. Sophia expressed a fixation on being Emma. She studied Emma's photos, imitated her style, even practiced Emma's mannerisms in front of the mirror. When Emma moved to Seattle, Sophia saw it as an opportunity. She deliberately moved into the same building as Ryan with the explicit intention of taking Emma's place. Ryan was pale as death now. No, this can't be. Sophia admitted in session, the recording continued, that she intercepted Emma's correspondence to Ryan, that she blocked communication between them, that she used Emma's personal information to create a false connection with Ryan. When confronted about the ethics of this, Sophia said, and I quote, "Emma didn't deserve him. I deserve him. I always deserve what she has." The recording ended. The silence was absolute. Sophia, Ryan stood up, walked to her. Look at me. She looked, tears streaming. Do you love me? He asked. Really love me? Or do you love the idea of having what Emma had? Sophia opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again, and finally, she told the truth. I don't know the difference anymore. If you are enjoying this story, please like and subscribe to the channel. Share in the comments if you have ever experienced something similar: manipulation, identity theft, relationships based on lies. Ryan took a step back, as if Sophia's words had physically hit him. You don't know the difference, he repeated, his voice hollow, between loving me and loving the idea of having me. Ryan, Sophia reached out, but he recoiled. Don't touch me, he said. Don't, I can't. I can't even look at you right now. He turned, his eyes meeting mine. And in that gaze, I saw years of pain, confusion, unanswered questions finally making sense. Emma, he said, his voice broken, why didn't you come back? Even without my responses, why didn't you come back to me? And there was the question I knew would come. The question that had tormented me for 5 years. Because even without answered letters, even without returned calls, I could have come back. I could have fought. But I didn't fight. And that was my own failure to carry. Because, I said, tears finally escaping, my mother died in January 2019. And when she was gone, I fell apart. I spent 3 months in intensive grief therapy. And when I finally managed to function again, when I finally gathered the courage to return to Boston, my voice failed. Grace put her hand on my shoulder, giving me strength to continue. When I came back, I said, I looked for you. I went to your apartment, and Sophia answered the door, wearing your sweatshirt, with morning messy hair, and she told me you were together, that you were happy, that I should move on. And you believed her? Ryan said. It wasn't an accusation. It was understanding. I believed, I admitted. Because why would she lie about that? Because what cousin would do something so cruel? And because... I stopped, forcing out the next words. Because part of me felt I deserved it. That I had abandoned you when you needed me. That I had no right to come back and disrupt your happiness. But I wasn't happy, Ryan said. I was never happy with Sophia. I was confused, lost. Sophia was there, saying all the right things, knowing exactly how to comfort me. And I thought maybe it was fate, that maybe you had left me so I could find Sophia. Except the right things she said were my words. The comfort she offered was based on knowledge she stole from me. You never fell in love with Sophia, Ryan. You fell in love with me again through her. Sophia sobbed loudly. That's not fair. I developed real feelings. I love you, Ryan. In my own way, I really do love you. Your way is sick, Aunt Helen said, and there was horror in her voice. My daughter, what have you become? I became someone who matters, Sophia screamed. Someone who is noticed. My whole life, it was always Emma. Emma is so talented. Emma is so beautiful. Emma is so special. And I was just Sophia, the cousin, the one no one remembered at family gatherings. So you decided to become her, I said. Decided that if you couldn't be better than me, you would be me. And it worked, Sophia said, desperation in her voice now. It worked for years. Ryan loved me. His family loved me. I finally had a life worth living. But it wasn't your life, Grace said. It was Emma's life that you stole. And Ryan didn't love you. He loved the ghost of Emma that you were portraying. Ryan was pacing now, back and forth, processing. The things you said, the stories you told, I always felt there was something familiar about them, as if I'd heard them before. You had, I said, from me, years ago. Sophia just recycled my memories and sold them as hers. And the pregnancy? Ryan stopped suddenly, turning to Sophia. You said you were pregnant 3 months ago. Said that was the reason we needed to set the wedding quickly. Sophia paled even more. There was no pregnancy, Grace said. Show him, Emma. I pulled another document from the envelope. Medical records from a fertility clinic Sophia visited 4 months ago. Records showing she was informed she has severe endometriosis and that a natural pregnancy would be extremely unlikely without extensive treatment. She knew she wasn't pregnant, I continued. She lied to trap you, to accelerate the wedding before you had time to question, before the truth could come out. Ryan staggered, Grace having to hold him. Everything, he whispered, everything was a lie. Every moment, every word, everything. Not everything, Sophia said desperately. The moments we shared, the laughs, the Sunday mornings, that was real. I was there. I was present. You were present, Ryan agreed. But you were performing. You were being a false version of someone else. And his voice broke completely. I spent 5 years in love with a ghost. There is a particular cruelty in loving someone who does not exist. Ryan had fallen in love with a constructed personality, part mine, part fantasy, part calculated manipulation. And now, confronted with the truth, he had to reconcile that the love he felt for 5 years was based on complete deception. And you, Ryan turned to me, and there was something in his eyes now, something that could be anger or hurt or both. How long have you known about this? 3 months, I admitted. Since Grace reached out to me. Since she told me you seemed unhappy, that something was wrong. We started investigating and 3 months, Ryan repeated. You knew for 3 months and didn't tell me? I needed proof, I said. I needed something more than your fiancé is obsessed with me. I needed irrefutable evidence. So you waited, Ryan said, and there was accusation in his voice now. You waited until the wedding rehearsal? Until the most public moment possible. Because it was publicly that Sophia destroyed me, I said, my own anger rising now. She posted on social media about how I tried to steal you. She told the whole family that I was obsessive, manipulative. She turned me into a villain publicly. So yes, Ryan, I waited. I waited until I could expose the truth in the same way she spread lies. So this is revenge, Ryan said. This isn't about truth. It's about making Sophia pay. It's about both, I admitted. It's about truth and justice. About ensuring she can't do this to someone else. About freeing you from a prison you didn't even know you were in. Freeing me? Ryan let out a bitter laugh. You didn't free me, Emma. You destroyed my reality. Everything I thought I knew about the last 5 years vanished. And now I'm here at what should be my wedding rehearsal, finding out that my fiancé is an obsessive imposter and that the woman I loved never really left me. He looked between us, at me, at Sophia, and you want me to what? To thank you? To fall into your arms and pretend 5 years didn't happen? No, I said softly. I want you to be free. Free to make choices based on truth, not lies. Free to decide your own future. My future, Ryan repeated. He looked at Sophia. You destroyed my past. You stole years from me based on deception. Then he looked at me. And you came back and destroyed my present without warning me, without preparing me. Ryan, I began, but he raised his hand. No, I need time. I need to process all of this. He turned to Grace. Can you take me home? I can't stay here. Grace nodded, giving me an apologetic look. They left together, leaving 100 people in shocked silence, Sophia collapsing to the floor, and me standing alone with my truths finally exposed, but feeling emptier than ever. Because I had won the battle. I had proven I was right. I had exposed Sophia. But in the process, perhaps I had lost Ryan forever. 3 days after that disastrous wedding rehearsal, I was sitting in Grace's apartment in Cambridge, staring at my phone, which wasn't ringing. Ryan hadn't contacted me, hadn't responded to my messages, hadn't given any sign that he wanted to talk. He needs time, Grace said for the 10th time, bringing me tea I wasn't drinking. You turned his world upside down, Emma. You can't expect him to process that in days. I know, but Grace, what if I did everything wrong? What if the way I exposed Sophia was too cruel? What if I lost him forever? You didn't lose him, Grace insisted, but you also can't expect him to run back to you immediately. He spent 5 years believing a lie, 5 years building a life with a woman who wasn't who he thought. That breaks a person. My phone rang. It wasn't Ryan. It was an unknown number. I hesitated, but answered. Emma Collins? A woman's voice I didn't recognize. Yes? My name is Jennifer Park. I'm a reporter for the Boston Globe. I'm doing a story about what happened at the Fairmont 3 days ago. A video of the confrontation leaked on social media. It has over 2 million views. My stomach dropped. What? Someone filmed it, Jennifer said. Posted it on TikTok. It went viral. Now it's everywhere. And I'd like to do an interview with you. Hear your side of the story. No, I said immediately. No, I don't want to make this any more public than it already is. Emma, with or without you, the story will come out. Sophia has already given an interview. She's painting herself as a victim, saying you orchestrated everything out of jealousy, that the evidence was fabricated. Of course Sophia would do that. Even caught red-handed, even completely exposed, she would still find a way to play the victim, because that's what she did. That's who she was. Send me the link, I said. I want to see what she's saying. Minutes later, I was watching a video of Sophia in a morning interview on a local channel. She was wearing light makeup, her hair simple, looking vulnerable and broken. I made mistakes, she was saying, tears streaming. I don't deny that. But Emma is painting me as if I'm a monster, as if everything was calculated. The truth is, I was in love. And when you're in love, sometimes you do desperate things. But the letters, the interviewer asked. The evidence that you intercepted correspondence. I did take some letters, Sophia admitted, but not with malicious intent. I was trying to protect Ryan. Emma had abandoned him, left him when he needed her most. And these letters, they were just reopening wounds. I was trying to help him move on. Liar, I whispered. And the fake pregnancy? The interviewer continued. I truly thought I was pregnant, Sophia said. I was late, I had symptoms, and yes, the test ended up being negative, but at that moment I genuinely believed. It wasn't manipulation, it was hope. Grace was watching with me, her expression growing increasingly angry. She's rewriting everything, turning calculated manipulation into mistakes of love. And people are believing it, I said, reading the comments. Look, Sophia deserves a second chance. Emma seems vengeful. Both sides are at fault. My phone rang again. This time it was Ryan. Hi, I answered, my heart racing. Did you see? He asked without preamble. Sophia's interview? I saw. She's lying, Ryan said, and there was anger in his voice now. Rewriting everything, making it seem like it was a misunderstanding. I know, I said. It's what she does. No, Ryan said. Not this time. I won't let her control the narrative again. Emma, do you still have all the evidence? I do. Then let's go public, Ryan said. Together. Let's tell the complete story, with all the proof. Let's make sure the truth, the real truth, is what people remember. Ryan, are you sure? I asked. This will expose you, too. It will show that you were deceived, manipulated. I know, he said, and I'm ready for that. Because you were right, Emma. Sophia made me a prisoner. And the only way to truly be free is to make sure everyone knows exactly what she did. Then let's do it, I said. Together. 2 days later, Ryan and I were sitting in the Boston Globe studio, ready for a full interview. Jennifer Park had agreed to give us a full hour, enough time to tell the whole story, show all the evidence, leave no room for doubt. "Are you ready?" Jennifer asked as cameras were positioned. Ryan looked at me, I looked at him, and for the first time in 5 years, we really saw each other. "Ready," we said, together. The interview started smoothly, Jennifer asking about how we met, about our original relationship. Ryan talked about the sticky notes, about the 4 years together, about the plans we made. And then Emma had to go to Seattle, Ryan said, to take care of her mother. And I understood. Of course I understood. Family comes first. But communication stopped, Jennifer said. It didn't stop, I corrected. It was intercepted, systematically, by someone who had access to Ryan's apartment, someone he trusted. We showed the letters, one by one. Ryan read excerpts aloud, his voice breaking at times. "Ryan, today marks 6 months. 6 months since I saw you. Mom is in hospice now. Doctors say weeks, maybe days. And all I want is to hear you say you still love me, that we're still in this together." He stopped, wiped his eyes. I never received that. Never knew she was suffering so much, that she needed me. "Because Sophia Bennett made sure you didn't know," Jennifer confirmed. "Yes," Ryan confirmed. "Sophia intercepted every letter, blocked every message, and then, when Emma finally returned to Boston, Sophia made sure Emma saw me with her, that Emma believed we had moved on." "But you hadn't," Jennifer said. "Not really." "No," Ryan admitted. "I was with Sophia, yes, but I always felt something was missing. As if there was a hole I couldn't fill. Because you were in love with a ghost," I said softly. "Sophia had become me. My stories, my words, even my dreams. You fell in love with a false version of me that she portrayed." We showed the therapist's recording. We showed the medical records proving Sophia knew she wasn't pregnant. We showed text messages that a forensic expert had recovered. Messages where Sophia discussed with a friend how she was becoming Emma to keep Ryan. Truth, when fully exposed, is undeniable. There is no room for interpretation for both sides. There are only facts. And the facts were that Sophia had orchestrated an elaborate deception for years, using sophisticated psychological manipulation to control not just Ryan, but an entire narrative. "So what now?" Jennifer asked. "You two? Is there a future for you?" Ryan and I looked at each other. It was a question we hadn't discussed, a question that had hung between us since that day at the rehearsal. "I don't know," Ryan said, honestly. "I still love Emma. I never stopped. But I also spent 5 years in a fake relationship. 5 years I can't get back. And that changes a person." "And Emma?" Jennifer turned to me. "How do you feel?" "I love Ryan," I said. "I always have. But love isn't enough when there's so much trauma to process. When there are 5 years of lies between you. We need time. We need therapy. We need to rebuild trust that was broken, not by us, but by someone who used our love as a weapon." "So you're going to try?" Jennifer asked. "We are," Ryan said, taking my hand. "But slowly, honestly. No skipping steps, no rushing. Just starting over. Getting to know each other again. As the people we are now, not as we were." "Like first dates?" I asked, smiling slightly. "Like first dates," he confirmed. "Except this time I won't leave sticky notes. I'll be more direct." He squeezed my hand across the table. "Emma Collins, would you like to go out with me? Not as an ex-girlfriend, not as the woman I almost lost, but as the person I want to know, who I want to build something new with. Something honest and real." Tears pricked my eyes. Yes, I would very much like that." "Good," Ryan said, "because I booked a table at Neptune Oyster for Friday, if you're free." "Neptune Oyster," I repeated. "Ryan, that place has a months-long waiting list." "I know," he said, smiling, "but I know someone, and I thought it was worth it for our first official date. Again." Starting over isn't forgetting. It's acknowledging the past, learning from it, and choosing to build something new with the lessons learned. Ryan and I couldn't erase 5 years. We couldn't pretend Sophia never happened. But we could choose not to let her define our future. 8 months after that devastating interview, I was sitting in a small cafe in Beacon Hill, watching the snow fall gently outside. It was December, and Boston was covered in white, beautiful and clean, as if the entire city had been given a new chance. Ryan was late, not by much, just 10 minutes, but long enough for me to question if he would come. We had seen each other regularly in recent months, but always in the context of therapy. Individual therapy for both, couples therapy with Dr. Rebecca Stone, who was helping us navigate the complex trauma of everything that had happened. But today was different. Today was our first real date since 2018. No therapists, no mediators, just the two of us, trying to figure out if there was still an us to discover. The cafe door opened, bringing a gust of cold air and Ryan. He was wearing a dark wool coat I didn't recognize, a beard he didn't have when we first met, eyes that carried a weight that wasn't there before. But it was still Ryan, still the man I loved. "Sorry I'm late," he said, sitting down. "A meeting at work ran longer than expected." "No problem," I said. "I was just watching the snow." "You always liked snow," he said, then paused. "Or is that something Sophia said you liked, and I'm confusing memories again?" And there was the challenge we faced every day. Ryan had 5 years of mixed memories, some real with Sophia, some based on things she had stolen from me. Separating what was real from what was constructed was constant, painful work. "No," I said gently, "I really do like snow. Remember? Our first snowfall together, we built a snowman on Boston Common at 3 in the morning." "I remember," Ryan said, and there was relief in his voice. "That's a real memory, my real memory with you." We ordered coffee. He still took his black with sugar. I still preferred an almond milk latte. Some things didn't change. "How are you doing?" I asked. "Really?" "Better," Ryan said. "Some days are harder than others. But Dr. Stone helped me understand that I don't have to delete 5 years of my life just because they were based on deception. I can acknowledge that they were complicated, that they were manipulated, but they were still my years. I still learned things. I still grew." "That's mature," I said. "It's survival," he corrected, "because the alternative is to be trapped in anger and betrayal forever. And I don't want that. I don't want to give Sophia any more power over my life than she already had." "And Sophia?" I asked carefully. "Have you heard from her?" "She moved," Ryan said, "to Los Angeles. A new life, a new identity almost. Grace told me she's in intensive therapy there. Treatment for obsessive-compulsive personality disorder and identity issues." "Do you think she'll get better?" I asked. "I hope so," Ryan said. "Not for me, but because no one deserves to live so broken that they need to steal someone else's life to feel complete." We sat in silence for a moment, drinking coffee, watching the snow. "Emma," Ryan said finally, "I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest." "Always," I promised. "Do you love me?" he asked. "Still, after everything? Or do you love the memory of who we were?" I had thought about that question for months. I had discussed it with my therapist, with Grace, with myself on sleepless nights. "I love you," I said. "Not the memory, not the 22-year-old boy who left sticky notes on my backpack, but the 33-year-old man sitting across from me. The man who survived psychological manipulation and came out stronger. The man who was doing the hard work of healing instead of becoming bitter." "But," I continued, "I also know that love isn't enough. We need trust. We need time. We need to rebuild a foundation that was broken." "I agree," Ryan said, "and that's why," he took a deep breath, "that's why I want to do this right this time. No skipping steps, no rushing, just starting over, getting to know each other again, as the people we are now, not as we were." "Like first dates?" I asked, smiling slightly. "Like first dates," he confirmed. Except this time, I won't leave sticky notes. I'll be more direct. He took my hand across the table. Emma Collins, would you like to go out with me? Not as an ex-girlfriend, not as the woman I almost lost, but as the person I want to know, who I want to build something new with, something honest and real. Tears pricked my eyes. Yes, I would very much like that. Good, Ryan said, because I booked a table at Neptune Oyster for Friday, if you're free. Neptune Oyster, I repeated. Ryan, that place has a months-long waiting list. I know, he said, smiling, but I know someone, and I thought it was worth it for our first official date, again. Restarting is not forgetting. It's acknowledging the past, learning from it, and choosing to build something new with the lessons learned. Ryan and I couldn't erase 5 years. We couldn't pretend Sophia never happened, but we could choose not to let her define our future. In the following months, Ryan and I navigated our relationship with deliberate care. Weekly dates, honest conversations about our fears, our hopes, our scars. Continued therapy, individual and together. It wasn't easy. There were days when Ryan had flashbacks, seeing something Sophia had said or done and questioning what was real. There were days when I felt resentment for lost years, for having to rebuild something that should have been ours from the beginning. But there were also good days, days when we laughed together without the weight of the past, days when we made new memories that were just ours, days when I looked at Ryan and saw not what we lost, but what we were building. 6 months after that first coffee, Ryan took me back to Boston Common. It was a summer evening, warm and clear, the park lit by old lampposts. Do you remember this place? He asked. Of course, I said. Our first snowfall, the snowman. Not just that, Ryan said. This was the place where I realized I loved you. December 2015. You were wearing that ridiculous red beanie. It wasn't ridiculous, I protested, laughing. It was totally ridiculous, Ryan insisted. But you looked beautiful. And you were laughing, and the snow was falling, and I thought, this is her. She's the person I want to spend my life with. He stopped, turned to face me, and then life happened, and we were separated, and manipulated, and almost lost to each other forever. But we weren't, I said softly. We weren't, he agreed. And Emma, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if we'll get married, have children, grow old together, but I know I want to try. I want to build something real with you, something that no one can take away, because it's based on truth. He took my hand. So, Emma Collins, will you be my girlfriend? Officially? Not in secret, not hidden, but open and honest? Yes, I said, tears of happiness streaming now. Yes, I would love to. He kissed me, and it was like coming home. Not to the past, that was lost, but to something new, something better, something built on honesty and healing. When we pulled apart, he said, "There's one more thing. Sophia contacted me, through her therapist. She wants to apologize, personally, to both of us." "How do you feel about that?" I asked. "I don't know," Ryan admitted. "Part of me wants to listen, wants to believe she's changed. Another part never wants to see her again." "Then don't decide now," I said, echoing words he told me months ago. "See how you feel in a few months, and whatever your decision, I'll support you." "And you?" he asked. "Do you want to hear Sophia's apology?" I thought about it, about the cousin who had known me since childhood, who became obsessive, manipulative, destructive, who stole years from me, but who was also, by all accounts, genuinely trying to change. "Maybe," I said. "Someday, when I'm ready, when I can listen without consuming anger. But not today. Today, I just want to focus on us." "On us," Ryan repeated, smiling. I like the sound of that. 1 year after that wedding rehearsal that blew up, Ryan and I were back at the Fairmont Copley Plaza. But this time, it was different. It was our engagement party. Small, intimate, just close family and friends. Grace gave a toast. To Emma and Ryan, who survived the impossible, who found their way back to each other through years of lies and manipulation, who proved that real love, honest love, always finds a way. Everyone applauded. And as I looked around the room at the people who supported us, who believed in us, who helped us heal, I realized something. Sophia had tried to destroy me. She had stolen my identity, my love, years of my life. But in doing so, she had forced me to become stronger. She had forced me to fight for what was mine. She had forced me to prove, to myself and to the world, that truth always triumphs over lies. And in the process, Ryan and I had built something stronger than what we had before, because now we knew what it was to almost lose each other. We knew the value of what we had, and we would never again take it for granted. Final reflection. In the end, Sophia claimed I stole her soulmate, but the truth the whole world now knew, was that Ryan was never hers. He was always mine, and I was always his. Sophia merely temporarily intercepted something that was destined to be. But destiny, when it's real, always finds its way. Always. This story shows us that not all betrayal is obvious. Sometimes it comes disguised as love, as protection, as family. Sophia didn't just steal Ryan. She stole Emma's identity, used her words and memories to build a false relationship, and when exposed, tried to play the victim. But it also shows us that truth, no matter how long it takes to emerge, always finds its way to the light. That real love, love based on honesty and respect, survives even when separated by years of manipulation. And Sophia? Sophia is working on herself. Not for Emma or Ryan, but because she finally confronted the emptiness within her that led her to steal another person's life. Her journey of healing will be long and difficult, but it is hers to make. If this story touched you, if you have ever been manipulated by someone close to you, if you have ever had your identity stolen or your love used as a weapon, know this: you are not alone. Truth may take time to emerge, but when it does, it is liberating. Subscribe to the channel for more stories of betrayal, discovery, and overcoming. Leave in the comments, have you ever experienced manipulation from someone who claimed to love you? And always remember, you can't steal what is truly meant to be. Real love, based on truth and honesty, always finds a way. Always. And when it does, it is stronger for having survived the storm. Final question for reflection. When someone claims you stole something that was theirs, how do you prove it was never theirs? And more importantly, do you need to prove it, or does the truth speak for itself? The truth always speaks. Always.